A nation spoke to a nation, a queen sent word to a throne. Daughter am I in my mother's house, but mistress in my own. The gates are mine to open, as the gates are mine to close, and I set my house in order, said the ladies of the snows.
The onerous work that brought about Canadian Confederation, which had officially begun with the 1864 Charlottetown Conference, was winding down by the spring of 1867. All that was left to do was to acquire both the approval of Great Britain's Parliament and Queen Victoria's royal assent. Now, the specific act which was given to the Imperial Parliament was termed the British North America Act, B&A if you're cool like me, and had gone through several drafts before it was finally passed on the 29th of March. Amongst the pertinent sections of the B&A were things like the triumph of the Federal Union over the Legislative Union, sureties for railways, maritime integration, and so on. Yet, of course, alongside these proposals was the official designation for this new Canadian polity, this subordinate kingdom within the Empire, since it was the avowed policy of Confederation to find a great kingdom in connection with the British monarchy and under the British flag. The fathers of Confederation desired an august title to correspond with such lofty ideals, so the foremost proposal was the Kingdom of Canada. However, the British government was not really so keen on giving a title like this. This was due to the inveterate hatred of the American Republic to all things monarchical. I can't even say it, bro. Monarchical. I said it. There we go. Like, just imagine J.J. McCullough's fury if the British acquiesced to the Canadians' desire. For example, in February of 1867, there was an American representative, and he asked the House of Commons. He was like, whether any remonstrance has been made by this government against the proposed consolidation of the British North American provinces into a single confederation under the rule of an English prince? The general American anti-British and anti-monarchical feeling was particularly strong in the 1860s. This was given the recent Anglo-American tensions during the American Civil War, as well as Emperor Napoleon III's attempt to prop up a Mexican empire with an Austrian prince, Maximilian von Habsburg, as the Emperor of Mexico, which was a flagrant violation of the American Monroe Doctrine. Given these pressures, the British decided to veto the title of the Kingdom of Canada. But perhaps Canada could have another. Some Canadians, including Sir John A. Macdonald and the Governor-General, Lord Dufferin, wondered if it was possible that the Dominion could at least be elevated into a viceroyalty. This would not be such an aberration in the Americas, given that both Mexico and Brazil were empires, and that there was of course the recent provenance of the Spanish viceroyalties. Thomas Darcy McGee, the prophet of Confederation, agreed with this proposal, saying as early as 1864, "We have been especially careful not to trench on the prerogative of the Crown, as to the rights, or rank, or income of its future representative on this continent, as to the dignity of the office, or the style and the title of the future kingdom or viceroyalty, or by whatever other name it may be Her Majesty's pleasure to designate hereafter her dominions on this continent." A year previous, 1863, McGee had even floated the idea of founding a Canadian monarchy, by establishing a cadet branch of the House of Saxe, Coburg, and Gotha onto a Canadian throne, which was somewhat analogous to what actually occurred with the empires of Portugal and Brazil. And he said, why not rather engraft into our system the essentially British principle of investing with inviolability the executive head of the state, the viceroy, duke, or prince, who might be selected to rule over us. It is of the nature of an executive to be self-protective, and in according such a head all the necessary powers. Alas, all of these proposals were shot down for the same reasons: American pressure and British reluctance. But why exactly was the polity of Canada called a Dominion? During the discussion of Canada's official title, the Premier of New Brunswick, Sir Samuel Tilley, suggested the term Dominion, getting his inspiration from the 8th verse of the 72nd Psalm. It is also from this passage that we derive Canada's official motto, Admire Uscadmare. The Dominion of Canada was a luminary of the British settler colonies, paving the way for the Dominion system of the British Empire, which was replicated later on in the establishment of the Dominion of Australia, 1901, the Dominion of New Zealand, 1907, and the Dominion of South Africa in 1910. It was the Colonial Secretary, the Earl of Carnarvon, who set up the new title of Dominion back in 1867. It is a new title, but intended on their part as a tribute to the monarchical principle which they earnestly desire to uphold. It will give greater dignity to the commencement of this great scheme, and consequently greater self-respect to those who take part in the administration of affairs there. Thus, the United British Possessions, the United Provinces, became the Dominion of Canada.